Donahue. Republican senators met behind closed doors with President-elect Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General, Matt Gaetz. He was questioned about the sexual misconduct and other allegations against him. Maine Republican Susan Collins was there.
I was shocked by the nomination, given the many allegations, but that's why it's important that the Senate go through its process of making sure that we have a background check, that we have a Senate investigation, which involves extensive interviews and questionnaires, and then a public hearing.
Meantime, members of the House Ethics Committee are also meeting privately to discuss the findings of a long-range investigation of Gaetz. As prosecutors in New York push to preserve Donald Trump's historic hush money conviction, his lawyers urged a judge to ignore them and scrap the case before Trump takes office in January. Jose Ibarra was convicted in Georgia and sentenced to life in prison for the death of nursing student Laken Riley. The trial received attention during the presidential campaign because Ibarra was in the country illegally. Prosecutor Sheila Ross says the evidence was clear.
The defendant's DNA is under the right fingernails of Laken Riley. And it is only Laken and this defendant in that sample, and no one else.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the U.S. will give Ukraine anti-personnel mines to help slow Russia's battlefield advances.
Because of the way that the fight has evolved, this is just another stage here. But again, our focus is to help them, is to meet their needs.
Israeli officials have demanded freedom to strike Hezbollah in Lebanon as part of any emerging ceasefire deal between the sides, raising a potential complication as the top U.S. envoys in the region attempting to clinch an agreement. This is AP News. A major storm is moving through the Pacific Northwest. Trees are down, power is out.
We have a lot of road closures, especially on the arterial streets.
That's Maddie Christel with the National Weather Service in Washington.
With big trees down. We've seen some in the Bellevue area east of Seattle that it almost looked like really big old growth trees came down with this. And those are some of the more well-established trees here. So to see those come down is quite significant.
Downed trees killed at least 2 people. The Weather Prediction Center issued excessive rainfall risks through Friday, and hurricane-force wind warnings are still in effect. I'm Haya Panjwani.
An anesthesiologist in Dallas was sentenced to 190 years in prison for injecting a nerve-blocking agent and other drugs into bags of intravenous fluid at a surgical center where he worked. A coworker died. Several patients had cardiac emergencies. I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings to Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news from a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good morning, Marianas.
Good morning, Marianas. It is Thursday, November 21st. It is 7:09 a.m. and we are just getting our party started here in the morning. What a beautiful day it is outside. You're looking down at the traffic on Beach Road in Oleai. Look at it just humming along both directions. Can you believe it? We've got driveways paved. We've got, well, at least the base stuff is done. But we still need that anti-skid, non-skid, skidless stuff to be put down on the whole road and then repainted and all that stuff with the lines. But hey, every little step counts, and we are getting there, folks. And you can take a look out there. It is gorgeous. This is the prototypical Saipan day. I mean, like, if you're looking, if Saipan was an athlete at the NFL Combine, this guy is looking like a blue chip right now. It is gorgeous, just beautiful out there. 82 degrees, outside and humidity at 82% up there at the Saipan International Airport. Just picture perfect. It is great. In fact, when you get done with the show today, or you can take the show with you on the go outside and enjoy it. Let that sun grace your face for a little bit. Enjoy it. We're looking at isolated showers today, mostly sunny skies with a high near 87 degrees with a nice little breeze out of the east, 10 to 13 miles per hour. And that's going to roll around for just a little bit. Oh, geez, 1 second. Ooh. Yeah, no kidding. Looking at all this stuff, we got all kinds of cool things happening today, all kinds of messages rolling in on all kinds of different platforms. In fact, hold on, let me send this to this guy. Good morning. How? 7:30. Yeah, we've got Landon Aidlet's going to be on with us this morning talking weather here in just a little bit, but he's still out traveling. So we're working on his schedule and making sure that we are good to go. We want to make sure that we're not getting him up too early while he's on vacay because it's beautiful. Holy cow, what's going on with the glasses? I know. That's what I'm wearing today. Decided to rock it a little bit. It was a definite choice I decided to make. My eyes, my choice. Well, I mean, I figured that's not a bad idea to make because if you listen to the testimony from Dr. Coram when he's talking about letting the CNMI have these foreign doctors over here, he's saying, hey, we need folks from off island to help us out, even with our eye care, because there's a shortage in the May Lab, and it's even making its way over to Marianas Eye Institute. They're losing their top person in February, so they're full-time ophthalmologists, so they could use some folks to help them out, so I guess we could too. Anyway, I'm rocking these glasses. I'm loving them. I'm about due for a new set, though. I don't know where you guys get your glasses. I've had these things going for a while. So I'm due. I think you're supposed to get them updated more often than I did. I got these last time I was in New York, and that was 3 years ago now. And wow, these are awesome. I got a smoking deal on them. Quality Optical in Orchard Park, about a really, really, really good throw of a stone away from where the Bills play football. I mean, that guy makes the glasses for everybody. He makes them for just about everybody who's anybody, all the places throughout Western New York. They make the lenses. They don't just they order the frames, but they make the lenses. I had those guys custom make these for me, and they're great. See how there's no light reflecting? Yeah, there's a coating that went on here too. Just because when I was doing the news at KSPN 10 years ago, I wore my glasses on the set once, and it was just light reflecting all over the place. I'm like, I can never wear these great glasses that I got, also in New York. Again, so now got these so they won't be reflective, even though I got the crazy brightest lights all around with me. Isn't that important? That is your eyeglasses note of the day. Man, your glasses are $300. These frames would be about $300. Not to mention what I got for the lenses, but I'm telling you, it's connections, right? It is all connections. You think that we are all about the connections here in Saipan. It's true, but they're all about the connections in the States too. I got these glasses. So I'll tell you the story first. That my dad is the one who made this contact for me, and he knows this guy. He knows him because he used to coach his son, and when his son got older, he used to let his this guy's son coach with my dad. So they've got this long relationship that's all based through hockey. And I told him I need to get some glasses. He's like, hey, Bob, can you take care of them? No problem. So I go over to this place. They make these custom lenses, and these are fancy ones. So they got that blue light blocking film in there. They've got this one that takes care of the glare for the lights. It doesn't do any of that light changing stuff like where they turn into sunglasses or anything. I don't have that cool thing. But then also getting older, so somewhere in here, which you can't see, it turns into like bifocals, like that lower part. So reading is great. Not in bed though. Then you got to hold the book at a weird angle so you can catch it at that right spot. Anyway, so this has all of that in there. and these carbon fiber Ray-Ban frames and all this other stuff. So I got these for $187 out the door with an extra spare set of lenses that I'm about ready to pop these out and put the new lenses in. Is that crazy? Yes, that's that connection. And I mean, you're getting it directly. I'm not going through like any of the any of the glasses shops around the thing. This is just a there's no retailer. Right to the manufacturer. Oh my God, sorry about that yawn. Gosh, it looks even worse on screen. Anyway, so $187. That's just the smoking deal. You can't beat it. You just can't beat it. Well, you probably can't get it unless you know the right guys who do it. Oh, and then for the fitting, the guy, he sat down. He's like, let's see how they look on your face. All right, let's take this out. And then he busts out the heat gun to kind of shape it a little bit more. So it's like custom fit. So I've had these for 3 years. When they're on the face, they don't move. That's the goal. He even reconditioned the old glasses that I had from 10 years ago as spares, like in case something happened to these and I was out of luck. And had those frames fitting like they were brand new. Oh my God. These glasses, guys, they're great. I wish we had a place like that here. I know the market's not big enough. And I know that we're lucky to have the folks that we have. But it was a smoking deal. But before that, I was a Marianas eye guy, for sure. Like, I'll still go there for my exams and all that other stuff. But when I go to a Heart Eye, I like Heart Eye. The folks there are really nice. I know that I met the Hearts. They seem pretty nice also. But there's always so many more people in there. It's kind of like I don't know, it's like an assembly. There's just a lot of people there. There's a lot of action. So it probably speaks to the amount of business that they're pumping through there. So that's a good thing. Anyway, good morning, everybody. 7:18. We got you the Associated Press update to let you know what's happening around the world, and that's important to us. We want to do that at the top of every hour. We're going to be doing it again here at 8 o'clock to make sure that you got that update. But now we want to let you know what's going on with traffic around the CNMI. Well, at least around Saipan. You're not going to have any traffic in Rhode Island. You're going to be pretty good over there. But let's take a look at what's happening right now. Your 718 look at traffic. And let's go right down to John Monsignor Guerrero. And you can see where it meets Beach Road. Over at Middle Road, it's looking pretty good. But over there, it is a headache down by the CMG and Beach Road. This intersection out here, the former AK intersection, now it's got a thing that says the House of Interior Furniture. What's going on? Anyway, I can tell you that that's not a fun intersection. Having been through there plenty of times, one of the best things about doing this show is I get there so early that I don't have to worry about that at all. Let's take a look over here. This is a later trouble spot over there in Azlito, Dandan area, where Chel Monsignor Martinez meets up with Chel Monsignor Guerrero. Yeah, the CMG and the CMM over there by Shell Dandan. That's going to get progressively less fun as we get later in the day. That's a hot spot for sure, but right now at least it's moving. A little bit of a backup at the lights right now. But that's going to change here shortly. Going down in Cagman, that intersection, people coming from the Capitol Hill side getting slowed up, and the people who are all the way at the Mobile intersection are starting to slow up as well. What's going on over there at the base of Easton Drive over there by Ena's Kitchen? Just slowing down a little bit for the folks who are coming down from Marpi and Asmatuis and San Roque, Tanapag. Not too bad yet, but it's still early, so 7:20, you still got some time. And how about outside in front of us? The trouble spot around us right now, well, it looks like it's Chalmpiao because all that area is getting messed up mightily as GPPC continues to rip everything up before finishing what they started. They are the home repair people. They're the people doing all that stuff again. And, there's one more spot. I don't think we have it keyed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? Let's go up here because this is the other spot where it gets a little hectic is out here by Joe 10. And wow, Joe 10's looking pretty good. That Joe 10 intersection could be murder, but right now things are going nice and smooth. So there we go. Not too bad. We got our traffic done, and that'll get you started for this morning. We'll get that again when we get to the bottom of the hour, and we will keep on moving along. But things moving good for us, faux show, and things were also moving pretty good last night for baseball. I don't know. Ooh, 1 second. Oh, nice. I love that comment. I'm just wondering what book you're reading with those Superman glasses. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm reading the Book of Love. Got that comment from my lovely wife, for sure. The Book of Love. She knows I read it. I read it well. I'm well versed. All right. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about that baseball game last night. Did you guys watch it? If you didn't, you guys were missing out. I'll tell you what, though. It was the opening of the Saipan Baseball League's Masters League. And what a game it was. It looked like it was going to be close at first. Yep. Hey, thank you, Michael. I'll tell you, it looked like it was going to be pretty close at first. And then it looked like it was going to be a blowout. And then it was holy crap, what happened? And then the team that looked like they were going to blow out the other team finally won by a single run. I mean, it was wild last night. The Dodgers and the Pirates, really great game. It started off pretty close. I mean, it did. It looked pretty close at the beginning. And then next thing you know, these guys just tore away. So the Pirates ended up taking a nice little lead. They were leading 1-0 after one. 2-0 after they had their second at-bat. And then the Dodgers went off for 5 runs in the bottom of the second. And it's like, holy cow, what's going on here? And then they scored another run. They go up 6-2 in the third. Pirates come back with a run in the fourth. All right, so 6-3. Then it's all quiet. And then the Dodgers score one in the sixth. And you think, okay. Actually, wait. Yeah, they score one in the sixth. But they really scored 2. And that was a call. Like, you got to watch the replay. The way the out was called. They should have gotten that second run, but they didn't. They should have had a total of 8 runs at that time, but they did not. That one didn't count. But it comes down to the last at-bat for the Pirates. Top of the 7th. If they don't score 4 runs, it's game over. They score 4 runs! And there's controversy all over the place. Dodgers come back and end up scoring a run at the bottom of the 7th, just to get us out of there rather than extra innings. But it was close, man. It was close. You know, the game even had an ejection, all kinds of arguments. And but then afterwards, it was all love at the handshake post game and everything like that. But what a game! And that's how we started. You can go back and watch that game on the NMI News Service. But holy cow, I didn't. I thought it was going to be nice, fun, whatever. I didn't watch a single Masters game last year. Well, we're going to be broadcasting them now this year. Thanks, Louisa. Thanks, Chuck. And everybody who's up there in the score box. But those are the guys who are really taking care of us. And, man, I'll tell you, I thought it was just going to be nice. We're going to see some old guys looking okay, not a big deal. But holy crap, no, not at all. And, like, with the officiating, the everything. And then I just hear Ray Palacios over there from the far side of the press box. He goes, it's Masters League. I'm like, all right, that's it. That's good. 2 ejections. All right, so not only did the one guy get ejected, and then, really ejected from the dugout, and then ejected from the whole ballpark, period, because he was still chirping at the umps. Like, it was nonstop. Did JJ? No. JJ got kicked out too? I didn't see it. I didn't see JJ get chirped. I know he got pulled for doing, but I didn't know that he got ejected. Yeah, exactly, Louisa. That was just game 1. That's game 1 of the Masters League. And the ejection happened early. It's not. It was so great. It was so great. I did not expect it at all. I didn't expect the game to go the way it did. I loved it. I can't wait. You know what else I'm excited about with that, though? Atkins Kroll Toyota, during the game, confirmed that they are in for the whole season. Atkins Kroll Toyota is our official sponsor for the Saipan Baseball League Masters League coverage here in the CNMI. It's going to be great. We're going to be talking about all that stuff with them. So here's what their sponsorship includes us doing commercials for them and ads and all that stuff. So it's cool. But it also means that we're going to have during our game of the week that we're going to have a player of the game, and they're going to have whoever's the player of the game head down to the dealership, take a photo with them, and they're going to get some cool merch from Atkins Kroll. And they got cool stuff. Dobot. Manamco Wars. Oh my God. Dude, that's what we need to do. We need to make a trailer for Manamco Wars for the Saipan Baseball League's Master League. That is it. Jojo, can you hear me? I'm telling you, that would be great. I don't know. It doesn't have to be super long, but I think we should definitely do Manamco Wars. That is awesome. It was Manamco Wars last night. Oh my goodness. It was great. So, who do we got? Who do we got tonight? Let me pull that up. Where's my schedule? Do you have it handy? Here, I got it handy. Here we go. Yeah, JoJo's watching. All right, so tonight we've got Falcons and the Brewers, and tomorrow we've got Blue Jays and Marlins. So that's what's going to be happening with Masters League. But I tell you, that was great. And you're right. Darren Flores was pitching last night. I'd never seen him pitch. 22 years I'm here. I've never seen him pitch. I saw him pitch, and he didn't do bad at all. He looked good out there. He had some serious yellow socks. But, man, he walked out there with a swagger and a confidence I don't think I've ever seen on him before. I mean, like, Darren's Darren, right? But I never saw him walk out there looking like, yep, that's right, I own this. And he just went out there and was hurling. It was good to see. I loved it. I really loved it. Darren Flores on the mound. I really think, when it came down to the playoffs for the regular league earlier this year, Ray Palacios, in his wisdom, said, I think it's going to come down to pitching. Whoever's got the most pitching. And that's how he was talking about, like, who's going to win for the playoffs. And I think that's how this league's going to go. Because you got so many guys who are older, and it's about, who can really pitch and get stuff done. And I'm looking forward to seeing that and seeing how that goes. Oh, Louisa says, Chuck is umping tonight. Any players here? Y'all be nice to my husband, please. LOL. Nice. Man, I'll tell you, that's going to be great. Good luck, Chuck. That is great. Chuck Cabrera. Great guy, by the way. Anybody gives him any guppy. Oh, man. He's such a nice guy. Nobody can give him any crap tonight. I'll tell you what, it's a thankless job being an umpire. You get no love. None. No love at all. But, I'm glad they're there. And I don't want to give them a hard time at all. At all. The main thing for being an umpire or an official in any sport is just to be confident in your call. You make the call and you stick with it. Even if it's a bad call, you got to stick with it. I mean, you can't waffle on it. You can't show the indecision. You just got to make that call. And if it sucks, well, you're married to that call. That's it. It's your call. You can't go back. If they start arguing with you, you can't be like, oh, you got a point there. Nope, because they're going to argue every single call. Make the call, get past it, keep moving. That's how you be a ref and an official. Afterwards, you can reflect on the good and bad calls that you made, and that's where you go. And Joe Lozama had a heck of a time with it last night. I couldn't believe I've never seen an ejection like that. It was great. And you know what's funny? I saw him earlier that day. I didn't know that it was him. I only see him in the ump gear, right? I don't really see him walking around town and all that other stuff. But I saw him at the CUC event yesterday. He's like, hey, you going tonight? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, me too. I'm gonna do my special K. That's like when he does the strikeout thing. He does ends up looking like the actual letter K when he does it. And I'm like, all right, that's awesome. So Joe, good job last night. Good to see you too. I know that not everybody's gonna love all the calls, but you can't win them all, dude. That's it. And the other thing is, these guys can't play if you guys aren't umping. So think about that. Now, as much as you want to gripe, and you got some legitimate gripes on that Dodgers run. That should have been an 8th run. They should have had that one. But that's an after the fact thing that they can look at and be like, oh, yes, we missed that one. That's it. But we're moving on. Seeing Joe stand behind Banso was funny. Joe's cool. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Joe, Robert Banso, he's not a small guy. And so he's going to make other people look small around him. But yeah, Banso's, it was just, I'll tell you, Luis, it was just great to see those guys out there again. These are guys who I covered in sports like 20 years ago when I was with the Tribune. Holy crap, Brad, you're old. Holy crap. I was writing about these guys when they were playing baseball 20 years ago. And they weren't little leaguers. Jeez. I just did the math on that. That's not good. I mean, it's not bad. But holy cow, I can't believe it. So, and here I am now. I'm doing the same thing, only just doing it live. Well, it's great. Well, I'll be out there with them tomorrow night, for better or for worse. Probably the worst. And we'll see how much I actually get out there. We'll see. Luisa says, Joe's a great ump with the kids, too. I bet. I absolutely bet. All right, well, tell you what, it is 7:32. We're going to take a real quick break, run a couple of ads out there to let you know, let our sponsors know that we love them as much as they've been loving us. And you might as well love yourself. And one way you could do that is getting yourself to the gym. Get over there to Laddie Belt if you want to get to the newest facility that's in Saipan. The newest facility, great equipment. They've got everything you need to do to get started. They've got the gear, they've got the free weights, they've got the machines, they've got the bikes, the treadmills, you name it. The only thing they don't have is you. Well, you can fix that, and it doesn't matter what time you go because they're open 24 hours a day. They're located in Chalakanoa, right at the base of the Aquarius Beach Tower. You know which one that is. That's the tallest building in CK. Look at the base of that. Oh, geez. I got a call coming in from Landon. We might have to take a break from taking that break. Hold on, let's see. Yep, we're going to have to take a break from taking that break. All right, here we go. Trying to answer it. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Hold on, we'll see if you can hear us. Landon, can you hear us?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, hold on. I'm going to have to raise up the volume for you, my friend. Let's see how that goes. All right, there we go. All right, so we're literally, it's so funny that you're calling because you were probably messaging me, hey, I'm ready. And hold on, let me go over and put on the share screen here. This is really funny and a testament to how awesome I'm not. I've got a lot of room for improvement. All right, so let's pop you on there. Landon Aylett, our favorite meteorologist in the entire planet right now. He's globetrotting. And yeah, who else says that? I've heard you're maybe in the top 5 for some of the other places in Guam, but no, for us, you are the number 1 meteorologist on the planet. Landon, so I know we're going to talk some weather, but maybe let's talk about where you are right now in the world.
Well, if this is a hint, this is a Coke Zero bottle where I am right now. And you notice, I was telling somebody here at the conference that the Coke Zero looks a lot faster here than it does back in Guam and the CNMI. Maybe it's just the characters, but yeah, where I am, it's still nighttime, so the time zone's not too different. It's just after 5:30 in the morning over here, if that's a clue. It's not the Philippines, but it's somewhere just north of the Philippines. And maybe this is kind of a giveaway. I'm over here in Shanghai, just south of City Central.
Wow. Wait, hold that bottle up again. Right where you had it. Now look in the reflection in the glass in the window behind you. Look over your shoulder. Is that a bottle or is that a building?
Well, there's a TV in the reflection over here,
Yep.
but if it was daylight, there would be a ton of buildings over here. This is in the Lingang city center. It's like a suburban area they're developing. So if you're familiar with like the North Carolina region, they have the Research Triangle Park, and it's all these research firms and industries over there building up. And this is kind of like that area, but it's also like a getaway from the city center of Shanghai. It's more spread out, more space, and it's a lake out there, a circular lake, and there's several rings of roads going around it. I think the innermost ring is about 10 kilometers to get around the lake, and so it's really scenic. The problem is if you're staying at the hotel, you have to walk quite a distance to get to something versus if you're in the city center where you have everything at your fingertips.
Wow. And so tell us a little bit about that trip that you're there to attend.
Yeah, this is part of the annual meeting of the Typhoon Committee. And so that's a UN SCAP WMO organization, and it consists of 14 member nations. The United States is one of the 14 countries, but also included is Macau, China, Hong Kong, China, Japan, South Korea, North Korea, Philippines, Laos, PDR, Cambodia, Singapore, Thailand, and Malaysia. And I think there's one other country, but we have some 200 people from all over these 14 countries, the WMO and the United Nations, here for this annual conference. And so Guam was very fortunate. Back in 2019, we hosted the annual meeting on Guam. And so we had about 160 people come to the island for the annual meeting. And so every year it rotates among the member countries, with the exception of North Korea and some of the other countries that maybe don't have the technical means and the capability to host this many people.
Wow. Well, this is just really cool that you're over there and doing all that stuff. And even cooler that you're waking up earlier to do the call with us to let us know about all this stuff that's happening here in the CNMI. From there, when do you make your way back out this way?
I will be back on early Tuesday morning. So I'll be making a departure from Shanghai Monday morning and then flying through Manila. Fortunately, no typhoons in the Philippines when I come through this time. I had a little bit of flight issues going through Manila earlier this week because of that Typhoon Man-Yi. So there were some flight cancellations and things were maneuvered around. But yeah, it should be a smooth trip back to Guam Monday and arriving early Tuesday morning for just in time for Thanksgiving.
Wow. Well, it certainly, I saw that flight path that you had that went right through that storm, and that looked wild. So how was that flight?
Unfortunately, it was very smooth. I like a little bit of turbulence because for me, the turbulence makes the flight interesting, makes it sometimes less boring, especially when you're white knuckling the armrest. But it was so smooth, it was ridiculous. And so I was kind of a little bit disappointed because I do like a little bit of bump here and there.
That is freaking hilarious. Not exactly what I would have expected to hear from you, so that's great. I'm glad that you made it there safe and sound, and then we'll look forward to hearing more from you because, otherwise we're going to have to deal with Brandon, and, nobody wants that, right? Nobody really wants that.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
So don't worry, Brandon. We got love for you too out there if you're watching. All right. Don't. Some of the viewers are saying hi to you in the comments and all that other stuff. Are you still keeping an eye, even though that you're there to look at how you guys are going to coordinate for bigger stuff? Are you keeping an eye on the weather out here? And can you tell us a little bit about it?
I'm keeping a side eye, and you think of Homer Simpson. He's always got the eyes narrowed down. He's like looking side to side. And that's me when I'm away from Guam. I'm still keeping a slight track on things. And Brandon did put out the regional weather outlook back on Tuesday, and definitely things are transitioning toward the dry season. So that's the good news. We're in that season of transition. We're going to start seeing those trade winds start pumping across the region. And I remember in years past when I tried to put Christmas lights up on my house, you really have to anchor those down because some of our December trade wind surges can almost feel like a tropical depression or sometimes a weak tropical storm. And it's just trade winds surging across the region. And that's very seasonal for this time of the year. And they will peel off lights off your house if they're not anchored well into the concrete. So we're going to see the trade winds start pumping up. We could see some pretty good trade winds surging across the CNMI specifically later into the weekend and early next week. And as far as how much, that remains still to be seen. But we're going to see the trade winds surging in the coming weeks. The likelihood of tropical cyclones is diminishing. It's decreasing as we go later into the year. Are we completely out of the woods yet? It's still too early to say. Sometimes we can get late season tropical cyclones, whether it's a depression or a tropical storm, more so toward Yap and Palau, and then they go barreling into the southern Philippines. We've seen that in recent years. But yeah, we always have to keep a side eye to regional weather. But the good news is we are going toward the dry season. That La Nina potential, it's just not getting its act together. And so we were looking at the likely transition from INSO neutral to La Nina weather pattern across the region, and that potential is shrinking. And so we're still looking at average rainfall for the dry season coming up, maybe slightly above, with a tendency favoring a weak La Nina, but the trade winds will be pumping throughout the dry season. It's just not the best type of environment for tropical weather, so that is the good news. But we always have to watch, plan, and prepare.
Wow. I'm looking forward to the dry season for sure. Cutting the grass a lot less, and at least not watching it get out of control.
I gave up on that.
Hey, I'll tell you what. If you had Highlands Lawn Care in Guam, you guys would be sweat because they came in and they fought back a couple dinosaurs that they found crawling through Jurassic Park out there, and they made it look great for us. You were saying you gave up.
I've got to look up at the sword grass and parks in my yard, and it's approaching maybe 12 to 15 feet in some places.
Wow.
And, I just gave up. I have stems of wood this thick now where it used to be grass.
No kidding.
That's just a busy life.
You just need to hire somebody to take care of it for you. Get the experts out there to come out and take care of it.
If the trees get big enough, I can put lights on them. So that'd be great.
So now we know the strategy. That's great. That's absolutely great. So it's about quarter to 6 over there in Shanghai. What time is that your meeting stuff start this morning?
Yeah, we'll have our group breakfast coming up around 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning. And then we had the plenary session. So the full group was together the last 2 days with presentations coming from some of the member countries. China's got a very big presence over here naturally because they're the local host for this year's meeting. But today we go into the breakout session. So we're going to have the parallel groups for the working groups. We have working groups on meteorology, hydrology, and disaster risk reduction. And so I'm one of the co-chairs of the Disaster Risk Reduction Working Group, and I co-chair that with South Korea. So that's a fun group, and we talk about what we're doing in our agencies to take what we do in the weather industry and put it out to the public to reduce risk and reduce vulnerability to natural disasters and how we can learn from each other. And I always tell people, even though the United States is a first world country, we don't have all the answers. And sometimes what some of these countries, the third world countries, are doing could work to some degree for us in the first world. And so there's a lot of knowledge sharing, a lot of collaboration, and people sharing ideas to maybe have more of a synergy of getting the job done to protect life and property. And that's our ultimate mission in the Weather Service.
Well, that's great. Now, I know that they were doing... Well, what the internet tells me is that the folks in China have done some really interesting things weather related, and maybe some of those were like cloud seedings or maybe even like storm prevention measures. Does any of that stuff get covered when you're doing these kind of things?
Well, let me say the big topics, and I was talking with my Beijing counterparts yesterday at dinner, and there's two topics that really stick out in the presentations the last couple of days is Super Typhoon Yagi that developed in central Philippines and went over northern Luzon and then rapidly developed into a super typhoon, grazed through Hainan, China, and went into northern Vietnam and caused a lot of problems. And then artificial intelligence. That's the big buzz right now, is the use of artificial intelligence and modeling, forecasting, and analysis. And so there's some pros and cons to it, and it's a lot of gray area, still figuring out where it's going, where it is, and is it going to outdo the forecast numerical models? And so there's pros and cons to it. A lot of discussion. It's still out for debate. But Yagi and AI is the big topic. As far as um, cloud seeding and weather modification, I was also talking last night with my Beijing counterparts. I said, "Do y'all ever deal with conspiracy theorists?" And they said, "No, what are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, with the recent Hurricane Milton and Helene, there's so many conspiracy theorists saying that the Weather Service and the weather people are modifying weather to make it worse and to cause problems for any number of reasons." And I jokingly tell them it's above my pay grade. I don't have those answers. But they said, no, we don't encounter that from the public. But of course, the Chinese society is different from the American society. But I know cloud seeding is done. It's a common thing in the Middle East where they really need the rainfall. But there's a science to it, and you have to know what you're working with to make it successful. As far as the aspects of conspiracies and stuff like that, yeah, I really don't have an answer. And I honestly can say is I'm not aware of any efforts to meticulously cause destructive weather to impact people's lives.
Oh, well, I didn't mean it in a weird conspiracy theory way. More about like using that to create some rainfall with like the cloud seeding. The other one was I saw it's like a shock wave kind of a air shockwave thing that can possibly, they're saying if it's developed properly, to maybe break up some of those storms before they cause some kind of a damage.
That would be interesting. And I feel like I don't have an answer to that, but I do feel like that if you had something big enough to affect change in weather and weather patterns, there's also going to be repercussions. So every action has a reaction. And so there may be negative outcomes, even if you think you can do something to disrupt that tropical storm or that typhoon. It could have another side reaction that you never anticipate. And so that's the biggest thing to keep in mind when dealing with nature. But remember, man is this and nature is much, much larger.
Yep. And even though the biggest typhoons, even though they cause all kinds of damage, it's really like a redistribution of like the heat and the water on the planet. So there's a function to it.
It's a redistribution of heat. And the last 2 years, for example, have been a great case study. And with things being as odd and out of the ordinary back in 2023, when we expected a very busy typhoon season across our region, it was very slow. It was one of the slowest years on record, with the exception of Mawar, which caused a lot of problems, and Balavan. But this year, we expected below normal activity. And so far, the numbers by the technical aspects of our outlook they're holding pretty firm for Guam and the CNMI, but it's been a very busy year. It's felt busy. We've had a lot of tropical disturbances and depressions move through our region for the last 3 months, and it just gets old after a while. But with the global sea levels warming across the planet, the atmospheric temperatures warming, there's a lot of different things going on. The Tonga volcanic explosion about a year and a half ago, that put a lot of mass up into the stratosphere that may have some effects. We'll have all the answers in about 150 years. But right now,
Great.
We're figuring out, we're asking those questions and we're doing the research. And so that's where I have to bring it home in my capacity is say, we have those typhoons and they come through our region. It's a part of life. And so I'm your 5 to 7 day forecaster, and we have to keep that in mind that weather happens. Climate is what's expected, but weather is what you get. And we have to roll with those punches when they come.
Well, we're putting it in the calendar now for 150 years from now. We'll look you up and see what we can do. I don't know if Google will still have their calendar format for me 150 years from now. So we'll see.
It might be a some advanced holographic thing at that point.
Yes.
Time travel.
Provided by Temu. And that's how it's going to go. Hey, before we let you go, anything that you're hoping to do outside of the conference while you're there, like maybe things to see while you're there? Maybe there's some shopping you want to do, pick stuff up, landmarks?
I hear tea is good here. I'm a coffee guy, but I'm going to go check out some tea and see what I can find in the city center. We have our our breakout sessions this morning, and then we're going to go on a tour of a typhoon center over here somewhere in the lake behind me. And I think you can see some of the sky starting to show up.
Absolutely.
But we're going to go into the Bund area of central Shanghai this afternoon. I hear that's where all the action is. It's like the old city and stuff. So I look forward to seeing it. I'll be there through the weekend just to tour the city and maybe check out some skyscrapers. Maybe if I have a building I want to construct sometime in the coming years, we'll see what's out there.
Well, that's awesome. And try not to hurt your neck just cranking up and looking at the top of those skyscrapers all over the place.
Let me tell you what, when we were downstairs, and I wish it was lighter out there, below me is the convention center, and it's absolutely enormous. These things are in China. It's very grand, very enormous. We had our session in one of the conference rooms down there, and the screen for the presentations, unfortunately, the United States is in the front row because it goes in alphabetical order from back to front. And United States being right there next to Vietnam and Thailand, we're looking at the screen. It's enormous.
Wow.
My gosh. And so, yeah, I got a little bit of neck cramp. I might bring a recliner. I was telling the Typhoon Committee Secretary, I was like, we need recliners on the front row so we can look at the very top of these presentations.
Nice. Well, maybe go out there and get yourself a panda and enjoy some of the local scenery and everything. It sounds like it'd be great. We look forward to hearing back from you again. Take some photos, send us some videos, and we'll pop them up over here. And again, thanks for being on here again this morning.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll take some photos this weekend and send you some stuff. Right now I'm connected on VPN, so I can still have access to Facebook and other things. But I try not to talk about it too much.
Yeah. Well, I will ask you about that when you get back into the green zone. But hey, thanks so much. That's Landon Aylett. He is our favorite meteorologist on the planet, telling us all about the weather. And now he's telling us about the price of tea in China, where it's great to hear from him. And we'll see you when you get back to Guam, and get you back on next week and hear more about what's happening.
Sounds good. Have a great day.
Take care. Thanks so much, Landon. It's always great having him on there. Our favorite meteorologist, keeping us up to date with everything that's happening. It's Landon Aylett, and with the National Weather Service. Those guys really do a great job of staying on top of everything that's happening and keeping us updated about what's happening as well. Really fortunate. We got a great relationship with those guys and get to hear everything. So now what we were going to do is take a break. We're still going to do it. We're going to take a break now. And let's just roll with a couple of commercials. When we get to the top of the hour, we're going to roll out the Associated Press update that we get at 8 o'clock as soon as it pops out. But for right now, we're going to roll a couple of commercials. We were just talking about how you can work on yourself 24 hours a day at Laddie Built 24-Hour Fitness. They're right down the road from us in Chalon-Canoa. It's great. You can't beat it. They've got the latest facility. They've got all the equipment, free weights, machines. They've got the treadmills, the spin bikes. They've got an octagon. They've got a hot sauna. They've got a cold plunge. Yes, they have just about everything you could possibly have in there, except for you. Why aren't you there yet? That's what they want to know. Go in there and tell them why you have been there, and maybe when you see it for yourself, you're going to find out you're going to be part of that club. It's pretty cool. Anyway, tell them that we sent you. I think you're going to be pretty happy when you get there.
Persistence of build, be the inspiration they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book. We be a Lottie where discipline and vision is built. We lead by example, persistence of build. Be the inspiration they witness approve. We do what we do by the rules in the book.
Wait for Black Friday to score a great deal. Head to IT&E right now for Black November. All month long, bring home a free smartwatch or other accessories when you get one of the latest phones on the device payment plan. A new phone plus infinite data for as low as $65 a month to connect to who and what matters the most all year long. It's the deal that keeps on giving. Visit ite.net for details. IT&E. Connections that matter.
right, we're back. See, it didn't take that long. 7:56 in the morning. We're creeping up close to the 8 o'clock hour. And I'll tell you what, by the time we actually get there, it's going to be pretty nice because we're going to have that update from the Associated Press as soon as that sucker drops here in just a couple of minutes. And we'll let you know all these things that are going on. One of the things that's going on over there in Gualo Rye, it's your opportunity to go down there and change your dental care provider. You can do that with Paradise Dental. If you haven't done it already, that's fine. We understand. But, right now is the time for open enrollment for government employees for the CNMI. You can't beat this deal. $4 per paycheck for individuals for your dental coverage. $4. How about if you're a couple? $5. What if you got a family? $6. The whole family? The whole family. For everyone? For everyone? Yeah, everyone. $6 per paycheck in your family. That doesn't go down to your great-grandparents and all that other stuff and all your grandkids. It's all for your dependents. But they'll tell you all about that stuff if you give them a call at 234-4040. Or you can visit their website, paradisedentalspa.com, or check them out on social media, Paradise Dental Saipan. They're great folks. They want to see you smile. They do it as part of what they normally do as dentists, but they do it every time you walk in there anyway. They're great. They're happy, and they make you feel good about yourself. They're going to make you feel even better on your way out of there. Give them a call, Paradise Dental, 234-4040. And stop paying too much for your dental plan. That is the CNMI's most affordable dental plan over there at Paradise Dental. Go over there and meet some folks that you're going to love forever. You might. I think they're great. Anyway, that's a live look down at Beach Road in Oldie. You can see traffic is a little bit of a thing right now. It is about that time in the morning when that stuff happens. And we'll let you see what it looks like as soon as I take off Landon's name and all that graphic that I just had on there. So there we go. Taking a look at traffic right now. That's what it looks like in front of Joten. Not bad at all. I don't know how it's still green over there, but it is. Looking down now at what's going on over there at the base of Issa Drive over by Middle Road, and it's not looking bad at all. Just a little minor slowdown. Over there in Cagman, things are looking about what you would expect. Little slowdown coming from the Capitol Hill side and making your way back up through the Papago area. Over there in Aslito, forget it. It's Thunderdome. It is a traffic backup at just about all parts of that intersection by Shell Dandan. It's starting to move along, but it's not exactly fast right now. If you're trying to head up through San Vicente, or even if you're trying to take a right-hand turn to get through Aslito, it's a little bit of a slow go. Especially if you're coming down the hill from San Vicente, it's a little bit of a slow go as well. And out front by our street, you can see it in the camera right now. But if you're looking at the buildup for that traffic intersection, it is not pretty. All the way down to the gym, it looks like it. Well, I was going to say this traffic's nothing to sneeze at, but sorry, guys. I am proving you wrong. It is not a fast go when you get up to that intersection. You can see it's off and on, just barely moving around all the way till you get to about where we are at our building, and then it eases up just a little bit. Over there at the Middle Road intersection, it's not all that great either as you're coming from Beach Road, but it's getting there. It's improving. We're doing all right, but it's going to continuously get better throughout the day. A little bit of a slowdown over by the mobile station at Chalakidza, but that's moving on as well. And that's some kind of a reminder that just hit me. What do you think that's all about? Let's see. It is, well, wow. We're interrupting our show for that notification. What is that notification? It's from Samsung's Global Goals. We are celebrating World Toilet Day today. Samsung. Oh my goodness. That's the deal of the day. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that's what we broke up for today. Use this out to help end poverty. Okay, thank you, Samsung. Thank you for giving us the important things that are happening in our lives. I love it. All right, so JJ's giving us an update on the roads. He said he just got through Aslito. There's an excavator on the road, but he was kind enough to pull over and let traffic flow. That is awesome. Thanks for passing that along. I'll tell you what, when those traffic delays happen because there is like a piece of construction equipment going down the road, it can be a little bit frustrating for sure. I've definitely been like, could you just pull over? You know, those guys are trying to get to somewhere too. Where do they draw the line? Like, how many cars have to build up before you're like, yep, it's time to pull over? I don't know, but there's certainly an amount. I think it's the amount of when people start honking. Anyway, we've got the AP update for 8 o'clock, so I'm going to throw that your way right now. And so enjoy, folks. We'll be back after this.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. The top Democrat on the House Ethics Committee says all Republicans on the committee voted against releasing a report on the long-running investigation into President-elect Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General, Matt Gaetz. But Susan Wild says this is not the end of the story.
There was no consensus on this issue. We did agree that we would reconvene as a committee on December 5th to further consider this matter.
Wild says the committee is evenly split between the two parties. The report investigates sexual misconduct allegations. Gaetz met with Senate Republicans today, including South Carolina's Lindsey Graham, who says he wants to give the former congressman a fair shake.
No rubber stamps and no lynch mob. I'm not going to be part of a process that leaks information that shouldn't be leaked. I'm not going to legitimize the process to destroy the man because people don't like his politics.
Gaetz has denied the allegations. President-elect Trump says he's chosen former acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker to serve as U.S. ambassador to NATO. Susan Smith was denied parole in South Carolina today. She was convicted of killing her 2 young sons by rolling her car into a lake in 1994 while the boys were strapped into their car seats.
God is a big part of my life, and I know He has forgiven me. And it is by His grace and mercy that, and I have a lot of faith, and I live by that every day. And I just ask that you show that same kind of mercy as well.
Prosecutors have long argued Smith killed her sons because she believed they were the reason the wealthy son of the owner of the business where she worked broke off their affair. Her attorneys blame her mental health. At least 2 deaths are now being blamed on a powerful storm moving through the Pacific Northwest. Stocks finished mixed, the Dow up 139 points. This is AP News. The CMA Awards are being handed out tonight in Nashville. Here's the AP's Margie Zaraletta.
Drinking watermelon moonshine. The reigning CMA Entertainer of the Year, Lainey Wilson, is nervous about one thing going into the awards. She is co-hosting with Luke Bryan and Peyton Manning, and she is afraid she might put them to shame. Wilson is up for Entertainer of the Year again, competing against Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, Jelly Roll, and Chris Stapleton. Wallen leads the nominations with 7, 4 of which are for his collaboration with Post Malone on I Had Some Help. Malone and Stapleton will open the CMA Awards, which will air live from Nashville on ABC. I'm Margie Zaraletta.
The plan in Louisiana to make all of the state's public school classrooms post the 10 Commandments remains on hold. Under an order by a federal appeals court in New Orleans, proponents say the 10 Commandments are not solely religious and have a historical significance to the foundation of U.S. law. I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
All right, CNMI, we are back. It is 8:05 on this beautiful Thursday morning here in Saipan. We are getting moving. As you've got all the updates now from the Associated Press, their 8 o'clock update is in the books. We'll be back again with them at 9 o'clock. Right around 8:30, we'll get you guys the sports update from AP. Get you all wrapped up on all those comings and goings. But now we're going to get back to things that are happening here in Saipan, get down to some of our local stories. And one of the cool things that we were a part of yesterday was the the ribbon cutting for the new filtration system for all the water that we've got over there by the airport area. It's a massive source of water for the island of Saipan. In fact, it feeds probably about half of the people of Saipan are getting their water from water that's in that area. And there was a contaminant, the PFOA and the PFAS in the water over there, but now that's not going to be a big issue because they just got about almost $3 million worth of a filtration system over there that is just going to be great for folks out here. It is, I want to make sure I get it right. It's the granular activated carbon water filtration system, and it's for all the water that's pumped out of the Isley Field and Objan wells. And that's a lot of water. I mean, all that water that they pump out from there goes up to Canatabla, and it goes out to Dandan, and from there it just goes everywhere. The water that goes up to the Canatabla tank isn't just for Canatabla. That ends up going down all the way south. It goes down to that NMC tank and beyond. Really great stuff. And so this filtration system is going to get them to such a low point that, I mean, it's going to be great. And we're going to be able to use this water that they haven't been able to use for a while. So, and that field area, that Isley Field and Objan wells, the thing is, all those contaminants were coming in there from a chemical that was used in that flame retardant foam that they use for aircraft fires, right? Petroleum and all that other kind of stuff. This stuff really smothers the fire. Well, it turns out it's not good for people. It's a cancer-causing agent. And in high doses, it's a lot worse. So now, those chemicals aren't used in that firefighting foam, but we're still living with that legacy of having it. So this filtration system through Department of the Interior and their Insular Affairs, they went out and gave us a whole lot of money, along with the U.S. Department of Commerce, to pull that stuff out of our water supply. And so that's going to be good. Now, they're going to do a lot more, and it's going to be, they're going to address more water things throughout the entire system, as far as salinity, as far as potability and contaminants and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of the stuff that they've done has been really successful. But this big thing that they did over there by the airport is massive. You can see it. It's over there, like on the way to the ARF station. When you pass by the old United Cargo area, you go down the road, you take that turn. Jeez, this yawning, man. I can't get over it. You take that turn, and you can't miss it. It's by the CUC facility that's there. It's their big chlorination spot. And they are massive. I mean, they are towering. I don't know exactly how tall they are, if you're asking. Maybe about 15 feet tall from the concrete pad to the top of that thing. And now, apparently, those the stuff that it's all filtering through has to get replaced every so often. And so they're going to try to find a way, and it's going to be disposed of outside of here. But they're going to try to come up with a way. They're exploring different opportunities for them to be able to reuse some of that filtration stuff. And some of it would be one of the things they talked about was irradiating it and being able to use it again to kill all that, to remove all those contaminants. We'll see how that goes. That's a future project. But in the here and now, we just got a massive upgrade to our water system here. And that can't be bad at all. Now, I'll tell you what. So the way it works is that when at these events, you get everybody who showed up. So like here are the speakers who were there yesterday. You had the CUC executive director was there, Kevin Watson. You had the chair of the board, Janice Tenorio was there. The governor was there. Their chief engineer for BECQ was there. He's the safe water, drinking water guy, Travis Spaeth. Then you had Larry Manikop, who was there from, he's the water and wastewater engineering manager. And then we also had some remarks from Rodolfo Rodriguez, who's the acting deputy executive director for water and wastewater for CUC. When those opportunities happen, when you get the governor to show up, you end up getting the reporters, like they swarm and they pounce on the governor. It's not as bad as it sounds. But whenever he's there, it's like a bonus press conference, right? It's a great opportunity to get to hear from what the governor's got to say. And so folks basically just really try to take advantage of it and get what info you can from the gov. So when you see some of the stories that are in the paper today, you'll see all these other things. The governor says this, the governor says this. Well, those stories came out of these interviews, and they're great. They're great opportunities. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to play this so you can hear for yourself what the governor had to say. So we were there. So that's Brian Manabat in the screen. Off to the right, he's with the Variety. Off to the right is Kim S. Morris from the Saipan Tribune. And so you're going to hear a couple of pros at work. We got a couple of questions in there at the end as well. But it's good to hear directly from the gov himself when he's asked a whole bunch of questions on a whole bunch of different issues. So let's fire that up for you.
Obviously, to me, it's a lot more. One, it's faster because it's online. The other one is it should address the federal government's.
Real quick, just because you missed the very beginning part of that conversation, and we'll play this again just so there's context so you know what he's talking about. The governor was asked about the GCNMI ETA to streamline travel and to the security concerns. So it's the Guam CNMI Economic Travel Authorization that become mandatory at the end of this month for tourists who want to come here. This is all through U.S. Department of Homeland Security. This is for foreign folks, not local folks. So now let's get back so you can understand a little bit more about where they're coming from with this. So it's not just out of the blue. He's not talking about the filtration system at all. This is where he's talking about everything else that they got going on. All right? So here we go.
Concern about unregulated visa-free entry into the Commonwealth from China and from other places that is given visa-free. So let's just hope that it works. It works both ways. It makes it easier for people to process their visa and for security purposes. Okay?
Gov, can I ask, what do you think of Max Airlines asking for a qualifying certificate to, I guess, waive taxes for a couple years?
We should give them and incentivize them, but we leave it up to the experts and the agency, CETA, to make those determinations. What is a reasonable level of incentivizing a company like Mac Air?
I got one more. So you signed into law the bill to allow CHC to pay commercial rates, and CUC had a concern about that. Were you able to talk to CUC about that before signing it?
I did. Albeit informally, I reviewed the executive director's comment that she submitted to the Senate when this was going through the process, and I certainly understand their concern, but at the end of the day, the hospital is the lifeline of our community, and we need to see whether that. And I believe it's a reasonable request. It's having a government rate is very, very, very high. It's the highest tier. So, again, if you look at it, they're behind $60-something million, and more than half of it is penalty and interest. And we can continue at that rate, but it's going to continue to escalate exponentially, so and they're not going to be able to pay it. So it's better to have them pay a little bit less than where they're at, but are going to be able to make those payments than nothing.
Mr. Governor, so speaking about the rates, so we're up here by the airport. Any comments about CPA's recent increase in the rates?
I'm kind of concerned about that, obviously, because You know, Asia Pacific is a very competitive destinations. Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Japan, Korea, and so we need to make sure that we don't impact the feasibilities and viabilities of international airlines that call on in the Commonwealth. So, in fact, I just met with the chair, and I'm going to head over to. He invited me over to the airport to kind of sit down and hash these out. But eventually, we're gonna be sitting down with the board to see what kind of impact they projected. Because I'm just concerned. I'm very concerned about it.
Mr. Governor, I know how much we're all appreciating the heat out here. I know we just got done with the Coral Ocean Resort. Do you know what one of our properties is next up?
I believe PIC and Canoa, they're all up. So they need to push. DPO has to push hard. I mean, obviously, the Marianas resort property in Marpi has been idle for quite a while, so they need to address that issue. So I'm pushing them. I'm pushing them on a weekly basis. And yeah.
Good. Hey, thanks for your time, Mr. Governor.
You like the sun?
Thank you for allowing us to sunbathe
I haven't
with you.
been out.
All right, so that's the that little mixed plate that we get with the governor after those kind of those events happen. So again, we didn't really hit him up about this filtration system. It's not really his area of expertise, but he did talk about it earlier when he gave his remarks, and you can find that earlier in that in the broadcast that we had, the live broadcast that we had. So we had Kevin Watson was going in. Let's see if I can fast forward to where the governor was speaking. It was funny when he spoke about it. He was saying that he thanked Tina Sablon for writing his speech, but he said, this is really more technical, so I'm just gonna kind of freewheel it here, kind of freestyle. And it was like one of those nice candid moments from our governor. I definitely enjoyed it. But you're able to see this and check it out on your own on our page, so you can check it out later. But the benefits of this are things that were highlighted during some of the other speakers. In fact, let me see if I can't get to the next speaker. Mariano, I saw some of your questions, and they look like really good things. I want to see if Travis Spaeth, Commander Spaeth from the U.S. Public Health Service, can talk a little bit more about some of those. You'll be able to hear what he has to say. He did talk about what to do with the treatment on that stuff and all that. But I'll tell you what, I believe that when these kind of projects come in, there is residual funding that continues to come in for the ongoing treatment from it. It's not just a one and done, but we'll see what happens. So Travis is about to speak, Commander Spaeth. So here he comes.
Big thank you to all the distinguished guests, Governor Palacios, members of the House and the Senate, CUC board members, multiple boards, Executive Director Kevin Watson, and all the CUC staff, engineers, lab staff, and operators. This Model 10 GAC has been quite a time coming, as you've heard. We first identified PFAS back in 2015, but no one really knew what the health ramifications were when we first identified this. So to mitigate it, CUC was shutting down wells, diverting water where they could, trying to reduce the effects. That didn't really work. The PFAS just continued to spread. PFAS has now went through multiple changes from a regulatory aspect, including the CNMI. We now regulate PFAS with an MCL, and we were the first territory and one of the first states to actually come up with an MCL for a state MCL on PFAS. That being said, the future of regulating PFAS is not looking good. EPA's new MCLs are much lower We are going from 70 parts per trillion to 4 parts per trillion, and that is like a drop in the runway. It is very small trace amounts that they are regulating it to. So this is going to be very difficult for the utility moving forward, and this is one giant step in the direction to do that. I would really like to commend CUC. As the governor said, February 9th, we were all here for a ribbon cutting, and here we are in November within the calendar year, and this has been active for about 2 months, I believe. So congratulations, CUC, engineers, operators, getting this done. I think we expect to see results from our first test soon to see where the levels are, and hopefully it is non-detect coming out of this site. I would like to note, though, this is one of the first steps. There's a lot of steps to contain the PFAS contamination we see here in the CNMI. It's very good job security for myself and many of the CUC operators, I guess, the engineers. And so we were seeing problems with it being redistributed around the island. And so we've caused a problem and we've redistributed to other areas of the island. And so it is a dynamic problem, but we are working on it. The good news is, as you've heard, we have a lot of support from the local government. We have a lot of funding coming in for testing, design, construction, from multiple federal agencies as well, including EPA, Bureau of Reclamation, OIA, USDA. We have a partnership with EPA ORD, which is looking at pretreatment alternatives to let the GAC media last longer, so we can do longer run times before we have to ship the media off island. We're also looking at ways to reuse the media by either a microwave or an incineration thing so we can regenerate the GAC on island. So these things are all moving together collaboratively with the team at CUC and BECQ and our federal partners. We just received a headquarters money as well to do a feasibility study on the best path forward for the CNMI. And so we are working with CUC, the lab, and others to try to come up with the best alternative to move this forward, as we are looking at lots of alternatives, whether it be reverse osmosis, desalination, more of these. And so we are working all together. And so thank you all again for being here. Thanks to leadership, and as we continue to progress to remove PFAS from drinking water here in the CNMI. Thank you.
Yeah, so Mariano, I don't know if that helps a little bit to answer some of that stuff. You did mention that they know the new regulations to get them to that 4 parts per trillion, and that they said that's going to be a bit of a challenge. So I think that's as close to a good answer as you're going to get on that one. It says, what are the long-term solutions because the GAC filter is not sustainable? I don't know. I don't know that it's not, but I'm not an engineer. I know you are. So it's something to start is what it sounds like. And at least we're getting on the right direction, but I don't know anything beyond that. But that was about as good as I can get you. That's as close to the experts as I can put you when it comes to this kind of stuff. Kind of my goal, not to be not to tap dance and give you the impression that I am the expert on that one at all. But that's what we got on it for sure. And hopefully it is a good solution for us. I mean, hopefully it does take care of the stuff that we got to deal with. Man. All right, we've got about 6 minutes before we hit the 8:30 hour. At 8:30, we're going to we're going to take a commercial break and hit you with the AP Sports and talk about a bunch of those things. Today is National Gingerbread Cookie Day. I'm in. I love gingerbread cookies. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan. I like them better with milk, and but I will take that day. Speaking of that day being tomorrow and Saturday, for something else you can eat, we had Waffle Stop come over and drop us off some stuff yesterday at the ball game. They gave us some waffle hot dog and a waffle hot link. Holy cow. I never had anything like that stuff before. It was amazing. They're going to be available tomorrow at, let's see if I've got the info right here. 1 second. I do have it. Just got to open up the old internet's machine. So they're going to be open tomorrow over at Marianas Business Plaza out front from 3 to 7 and Saturday from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're in those pop-up containers that are out there now, like the smaller shops, the retail shops, right outside. 3 to 7 tomorrow and 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday when they do the small market and everything. Holy cow, man. I'm telling you, that stuff was great. Go check those guys out. I'm sure they definitely do have more stuff aside from those things that we had. We had the Doggy Dog and the Link, and those things were outstanding. The things that we tell you that we would try, they got pumpkin spice waffles for $8. It's a stack of 3 pumpkin spice waffles drizzled with maple syrup and topped with whipped cream and candied nuts. They also have the pumpkin cheesecake bubble waffle. What is that? I had the same question. Pumpkin infused cheesecake filling. Oh my gosh. Topped with whipped cream, candied nuts, drizzled with caramel, and sprinkled with cinnamon. They have somehow put cheesecake into the waffle. You got to try this thing. I got to try this thing. I really need to go run. Just thinking about this is telling me I need to go run it. But it sounds amazing, and I want to get down there and check that out. It's going to be available. Oh, let's see what this is. All right, cool. Thanks for that message, though. Appreciate it. That's Waffle Stop. That's going to be tomorrow, 3 to 7, over there at Marianas Business Plaza, right over here in Susupe. All right, I was going to marry that up with something else. Oh, we only got a couple minutes left. I'll tell you, this part was interesting, what we're going to talk about. We're going to do it real brief, though.
Let's say China. 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 You go over to China. 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 You take China. 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 I love them. China. 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 I have to have my China. China. China because China. China.
All right, so we're talking China, but we're not going to talk it all day. Specifically, though, what I thought was interesting, they're talking about in the Associated Press, there were 2 undersea cable communication cables that were sabotaged. They're saying they're ruptured cable, and they're saying that it's possible sabotage, and the same ship is in the same area. So they call it the Sea Lion 1 cable. Runs between Finland and Germany. It was damaged earlier this week on Monday, and it's right after a cable that was damaged in the Baltic between Lithuania and Sweden, just off of the Swedish islands of Åland and Gotland. Åland and Gotland. Yeah, this is my Swedish accent. Not really good. And now they're saying they appear to be caused by sabotage. And the other thing is, they're saying that there is a Chinese flag vessel, the Yipeng 3, has been in the area for both of those ruptures. It says the vessel tracking information for a maritime traffic showed that the 738-foot long bulk carrier not moving Wednesday off the coast of Denmark. And they didn't immediately respond to any requests from the Associated Press, the Royal Danish Navy, that is. But they are saying that may be the culprit. And give you a shot of what that ship looks like here. Hold on, let me move this over so it's a little more centered on the screen. So they're saying this is the ship that was in the area. Both of those. This is from the Associated Press. This isn't like some conspiracy magazine, right? The AP saying that this is the ship that was reportedly in the area of both of those that were cut. Not good stuff. I mean, this would be that kind of time. But she's sabotaging undersea cables. Is this the reason why we're doing that broadband cable thing, why Google's spending all that money. $1 billion worth of cable going undersea between the CNMI, the United States, Hawaii, and Japan. Not a great thing. And now that that big old ship's just kind of hanging out in the water. It's not even moving. So they've opened up Finland's National Bureau of Investigation. Their own, like FBI, they got the NBI. They've opened up a criminal investigation into the rupture of the cable on suspicion of aggravated criminal mischief and aggravated interference with communications. And that's the ship they're looking at. Yikes! Understatement, right? All right, we're going to take a real quick break. Give you a couple of messages from our sponsors, and we are going to move on with the rest of our lives. Get ready with the rest of this show and keep on going. Keep on moving, don't stop, no. Yep, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's guest, the Guam food guy, rolling in with us. That's going to be a lot of fun having Ken Stewart in studio. Never get that guy. I'm so glad we bumped into him and that he messaged to let us know that he's going to be joining us in studio tomorrow. So couldn't be more stoked. Love that he's coming in. All right, take a real quick message from one of our sponsors, a couple of our sponsors, and we'll be back right after this.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Tap into your inner eagle. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
AP Sports, I'm Bruce Morton. Pro basketball. Now every team in the NBA has a blemish on its record. Correspondent Gethin Coolbaugh reports from Boston on the Cavaliers and the Celtics.
Jason Tatum totaled 33 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists to lead the reigning champion Celtics to a 120-117 victory over the Cavaliers, handing Cleveland its first loss after 15 straight wins to open the season. Tatum sank 6 of his team's 22 three-pointers in Boston's third straight win.
It's simple. We just locked in on defense. We've been in that situation a million times where it's like, it's time to win.
The Celtics led by as many as 21 early in the second half before the Cavs pulled within 3 late. Donovan Mitchell scored 35 points for Cleveland, which was the 4th team in NBA history to open the season with 15 wins in a row.
In other action, Nikola Jokic missed his 3rd consecutive game because of personal reasons, but the Nuggets won in Memphis 122-110. Denver coach Michael Malone gave 2 thumbs up to Russell Westbrook, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr.
Russ got the defensive player of the game. He guarded everybody in that team tonight, took a big charge, got a big steal. Jamal got going, obviously. It's great to see him make shots, and Michael Porter set the tone for us early with how aggressive that he was. So this was a true team win.
Here is the rest of the Tuesday NBA card. Dallas pummeled New Orleans 132-91. Brooklyn got by Charlotte 116-115. A knee injury kept Victor Wembanyama out of the game, but the Spurs still defeated the Thunder 110-104, and it was the Lakers over Utah 124-118. College basketball, the night's only game with 2 ranked teams on the same floor, had number 15 Marquette slamming number 6 Purdue 76-58. Meanwhile, AP number 1 Kansas did what number 1 teams are supposed to do with a win over North Carolina Wilmington. Correspondent Greg Eklund has the story from Lawrence, Kansas.
The UNC Wilmington Seahawks entered the game averaging 108 points a game, the second best average in Division I. But the top-ranked Kansas Jayhawks pulled away in the second half to win 84-76. 66. For Kansas coach Bill Self, it was his 800th career win.
I don't usually remember the wins as much as I remember the losses.
Self joins Arkansas coach John Calipari and Tennessee's Rick Barnes as the only active coaches with 800 wins or more. KU now 5-0, never trailed in the game, but the Jayhawks led by only 5 at halftime.
In games involving top 10 teams, second-ranked Connecticut buried East Texas A&M 81-46, and number 9 Kentucky blew out Lipscomb 97-68. Baseball, the 2024 Managers of the Year have been crowned. AP correspondent Dave Ferry tells us how the baseball writers voted.
Stephen Vogt is the top AL vote-getter after guiding the Guardians to 92 wins, an AL Central title, and the ALCS. Vogt is the first to win the award 2 years after retiring as a player. He received 27 of 30 first-place votes. Royal skipper Matt Quatraro claimed 2, and Tigers manager A.J. Hinch the other. Pat Murphy is the first Brewers manager to win the award since it was introduced in 1983. Murphy's Brewers won 93 games before falling in the NL wildcard round. He received 27 first-place votes. Padres skipper Mike Schilt took 2, and Carlos Mendoza of the Mets claimed the other.
Back with football and hockey after this. College football, the latest playoff rankings are out, and they have Boise State slipping in to get the final bye. Undefeated Oregon has the top spot. Pro football, the help wanted sign has been hung at New York Jets headquarters. They fired GM Joe Douglas, a move made after the team's 3-8 start. Hockey, there was another job opening in Boston. Jim Montgomery was relieved of duties as coach of the Bruins as the Bees have dropped 12 of their first 20 games. In action on the ice, the Wild won over the Blues. Correspondent Mike Reeves is in St. Louis to file this report.
The Wild improved their road record to 8-1-2 with a 4-2 win over the Blues. Minnesota snapped a 2-2 tie with 6:16 left in the third period on the second goal of the season by Jonas Brodin.
We just like to play on the road. I mean, I feel like when we have a bad game, I feel like we come back and have a good next game. We don't let it slip to like 2 or 3 games and right now, so that's a good thing. And it's been good on the road, and I feel like everyone is going.
Kirill Kaprizov scored twice, giving him a team best 13 goals this year. Ryan Hartman also scored for the Wild. Scott Perunovich and Jake Neighbor scored for St. Louis. Philip Gustafson stopped 22 shots to win in net. Jordan Bennington suffered the loss.
Then there's the team with the league's best record. Winnipeg moved out to 16-3 by topping Atlantic Division, leading Florida 6-3. Mark Scheifele helped out with a hat trick.
As a team, we didn't like the way we played, in Florida, so. Just a sign of, a lot of good character in this room is that we wanted to bounce back. We wanted to have a good game in front of our home crowd before we go on the road for, feels like forever. So, it was just a great all-around effort by everyone.
Elsewhere, it was the Oilers 5, the Senators 2. Tampa Bay won in overtime over Pittsburgh 3-2. Anaheim beat the Blackhawks also by a score of 3-2. The Flames beat the Islanders in a shootout 2-1, and the Rangers won in Vancouver 4-3. Bruce Morton, AP Sports.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. Learning to dig deep and push through adversity together. Defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine, marking a path for the next generation.
Everybody, it is 8:40 in the morning. It is Thursday, and we got about 20 minutes of program left today, and let you know that It's a beautiful day out there. It's going to continue being a beautiful day out there. So go out there and feel some of that sunshine. You know, they say that it's best to get out of your seat if you're working in an office. Like every hour, get up and stretch those legs, at least for a little bit. So go out, stretch them. Take about a 10-minute walk. Don't even have to go very far. Walk out about 5 minutes, turn around, walk 5 minutes back. In the meantime, you can just watch all the people zooming along Beach Road right there. 84 degrees out here in Saipan. Humidity's dropped all the way down to 79%. And that nice breeze keeping us cool in Saipan. Even though it's warm, at least it's not that super sticky, muggy awfulness. We've got it pretty good. So go out there. Look at that guy. He's walking. And you can enjoy it for yourself. We're here in the studio here rocking out with a little bit of music and a little bit of fun and getting you guys all the latest that's going on. So you've already got the news, you got the sports, you got the weather. I mean, what more do you need? I mean, we're going to keep talking about the news here. We'll talk about the local news. But the traffic is going great with us. We don't even have to keep doing all that today. But right now, I'm just taking a real quick look just to see if there are any trouble spots out there on the road. What you want to look to? Okay, fine. We'll just take a quick look. Just a real quick look. Right now, things moving fine over there in Susupi and CK. That's nice. How about over there on Issa Drive, at the base of Issa Drive? That's a little slow, but it's not too bad. How about over here in Cagman Mobile? Cagman Mobile's looking pretty good. Over there in Aslito by Shell Dandan, not too bad at all. Things moving just fine at 8:42 in the morning. And by now, you should be where you need to go. It's still a little slow over by the IT&E intersection by Middle Road, but that's not too bad either. That's going to move along. And even the old AK intersection is looking just fine. But how about that it's tagged as the House of Interior Furniture? I think they got the wrong building. I definitely think they got the wrong building. No, that's all right. Well, we're still looking pretty good here, and no doubt. And for the folks who are watching over there in the Good Morning Marianas page, I don't know why it got deselected, but somehow it did. So we were only broadcasting over on the NMI News Service page. So now if you happen to see it popping up there, we are there. So it's not too bad. All right, guys. Talk about a little heads up on some of the things happening in the community. DLNR, that's the Department of Land and Natural Resources, they're going to be closed tomorrow. They've got a professional development day, and they will be back to work as normal on Monday. So if you got DLNR stuff you need to do, go ahead and reach out to them today. Give them a call at 322-9830-9830. And they're not the only ones. Folks with... Oh, that's funny. I had this tab open. Wrong one. Department of Finance, they're going to be closed tomorrow also. They got a directive that went out. Not only is every part of the Treasury going to be closed, the U.S. Passport Acceptance Facility, that's going to be closed tomorrow as well, while folks are getting some much-needed training, and they want to make sure everybody's on the same page. So that's it. So all day tomorrow, no Treasury and no passport office, also no DLNR, but that will, if that's going to impact your day, you want to go and do everything you need to do over there today, like Neil Diamond said, today. Anyway, that's the time to get over there and knock that stuff out. Thanks to our viewers for sending that info to us and letting us know what is happening out here, because that's how this works. It's your show. This is your stuff. By the way, those phone lines are open. You could always give us a call at 789-2323, 789-2323. All right, so we could get to some of the international headlines to talk about some of that stuff. So we're going to skip past this stuff. We're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about this one. Is this the one? No, we're not going to talk about that one. We're not going to get into that whole thorny patch. These are some of the things that they were talking about there. Oh, here's some good news. Parks and Rec. They've been doing some great stuff. Mike Cruz, a big baseball guy, he is running Parks and Rec and doing a great job and for the community and getting some things ramped up. And they ended up doing, like, they refurbed the beach playground equipment over at Pow Pow. My kids have already been playing with that. They added some swings, some monkey bars, and all that stuff. A real good program where they got some funding from Malcolm Omar and Joel Camacho. And so they did some great stuff. But now they're also doing some things over in Tinapag. Same thing. Now they're also doing it in Chalcanoa. CK, the basketball court, looking great. I mean, really, the basketball court in CK looks outstanding with a great new. Let's see, am I able to give you a better shot of that? Yeah, they got a great shot. Kapow. That's what it looks like now in CK. That basketball court looks outstanding. And that's the what you're looking at there. That's at the park over there. But this is the big one. Just seeing how the basketball courts in CK look, they look outstanding. So well done for the folks over there at Parks and Rec. Moving along, and it's great, and it's great that they've got sports-minded folks running the show over there, because that's how we get things done. When there's an importance, not just on. Oh, did you guys even get to see that? I think you did. There's an importance on youth sports and activity. Without that, things kind of grind to a halt. I'm looking at you, Sam Vicente School. Putting gravel over your softball field. Oh, I got to get over it. It still irks me that they did that. Still not a fan, but my kids don't go there, so it's not really my fight. But the folks from the school there, you'd think they'd be a little fired up about that. Maybe they're not. Anyway, interesting. So signed into law by Governor Palacios, one that gives money to the couple of the commissioners for the Commonwealth Public Utilities Commission. The chair gets $1,000, and the regular commissioners get $800. Now, is that total? Is that like a one-time payment? That's not every month, right? I don't know. It doesn't really specify here. I got to actually see if I can't pull it up. Let's see in my public law. I'm going to try to pull up the actual law now that it's signed into law. Here we go. If I can't find it as a public law, then I'll find the House bill just to confirm, because if that's every month, that's adding a whole. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Seen in my public law, 2329. Okay, yeah. So let's share that screen for you. We're here. This is great that all of our laws are available online. And here's the one that got signed in. Let's find the specifics in there. Talking about how the CPTUC or the PUC isn't part of anything else. So it's an amendment. Okay, here's the compensation part right here. Repealed and reenacted. No, it's per month. The commissioners of the PUC shall be compensated at a monthly rate of $800 per commissioner, except the chairperson, who will receive $1,000 per month, provided all scheduled monthly meetings are attended or excused by the chair or his designee. Travel costs and expenses shall be provided, if applicable, for the purpose of attending official commission meetings within the Commonwealth. Rules, rates for travel shall be the same as established with the executive branch. So no first-class travel between Rhoda and Tinian. Unless you're flying on Star Marianas, where every seat is business class because they're all leather. So then they've got to do all the stuff. Wow. So they're going to get that per month, and they didn't identify where that money's coming from. So this rule basically just added, how many commissioners are there? Are there 5? So that's $5,000 a month. So it's an extra $60,000 a year for the CNMI. Just for that, plus travel. Oh, that's it. So that's how much, now they get that per month. For a, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that it's not a bad deal to have your people who are supposed to take this stuff seriously, to have them compensated. But yikes. adding more money and another without a way to pay for it. When they do that, I wish that if they're going to impose any new expense upon the CNMI taxpayers, like this is a new expense, that they would have a source of where that's coming from. You can't say that we're going to spend more money unless you know where that money's coming from. We're going to apply it from this, or we're going to take it away from that, or in order to pay for this, we're going to do X. Or better, we're going to reduce our spending from here to this. It's $60,000 a year. If the legislators are going to start passing legislation that's going to cost more money for the taxpayers, they need to find out where that money's coming from. This is a relatively small amount, right? $60,000 a year for all 5 members. But still, where's it coming from? Just identify the source of the funding. It seems like that should be a no-brainer. Like it shouldn't be a question. Like that should be hard written into everything. Well, then we'll never get anywhere. Yeah, you're right. You just can't impose more of a burden on the government, on the taxpayers, without explaining where it's coming from. Take it away from somewhere else then, if you think it's a better spend. But that's why we shouldn't be doing revenue-generating bills. We should be looking at being more responsible fiscally. All right, anyway, I see something that looks way more excited. This is from Louisa. Why are eggs bad at telling jokes? Because they crack each other up. Hey, I'll be here all week. Louisa is awesome. Just absolutely awesome. And she is the MVP up there with the baseball games, working the cameras / computer to do all that stuff. She's just great. If you guys love it, it's because of her. She is just great. We had a full crew in there last night eating Saipan's best pizza from Godfather's. No maybe on that one. We had that happening last night, and it was great. But we don't have the full crew in there all the time. But we are going to get you a couple different camera angles tonight, which I'm excited about. All right, well, that's what's happening. So now I know the answer to that. That story, the way I read it, didn't really explain it too much, but now you know. Yeah, this one, man, this is an issue that's in the States, and I kind of don't care about it, but I understand that it's an issue for a lot of folks. And maybe it's an issue for a longer show. I have thoughts about it. What is it? I don't know. Only got about 5 minutes of show left. Do I want to open that can of worms? Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but no, let me think about it for a second. For me, it's a big. It'd be interesting to talk about. But this late in the show, I don't know how many of you guys really want to stick around for that conversation. All right, let's get back to that. Well, it's okay. Hold on. I still have it. I think I might have even closed that tab. Oh, no, here it is. It's about the whole bathroom thing with trans folks. That's the conversation. The 5 minutes left in the show conversation. And I don't even know if it's a big deal. It is and it isn't. I don't know if we end up going to Ally McBeal land where there's just a bathroom. Do you remember that? Old show. 90s. Where it was just unisex bathrooms. That's it. So the Speaker of the House of Representatives, I love the way this sentence is structured because of the nature of this story. because of the nature of this story, that's why it's the best sentence. The Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives came out Wednesday. Now it keeps going. It's the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives came out Wednesday against letting newly elected transgender women use the women's restroom at the legislature. He says all single-sex facilities in the Capitol and House office buildings, such as restrooms, changing rooms, locker rooms, are reserved for individuals of that biological sex, Mike Johnson, leader of the Republican majority in the chamber, said in a statement. I know. He says Johnson's remarks came after Democrat Sarah McBride's election as the first openly transgender member of Congress this month. She's received a cold welcome from her conservative colleagues. Yeah, she's a Republican. I don't know. Earlier this week, they made a big deal about it. And in this representative from South Kakalaki said, biological men do not belong in private women's spaces. Period. Full stop. End of story. That's from Nancy Mace. I don't know. I think it's pretty easy. I mean, there's an easy way to just, put an end to the conversation. Yeah. There is an easy way to put a stop to that conversation, but I don't think that they're looking at having that conversation. It seems like it's pretty easy. I think it depends. It's kind of like the question we got yesterday about water and the way it was explained to me about the water situation. Somebody had a question, said, can you drink the water for CUC? And we asked the folks who were at CUC, and none of them could officially give an answer. So we're waiting to see what kind of answer we'll get on the official level. They basically said, well, it's complicated. Some places yes, some places no. Because of that contamination, folks in this part of the island, probably not. But there's no contamination at another part of the island at all. So, sure. As far as like the salinity goes, it's more palatable, tastes better in some parts of the island, like in Capitol Hill. Yeah. Up north, well, probably not. So it's complicated. For this one, I think it's along the same lines. It's not the most comfortable thing. But when it comes to like schools, I think it's a no-brainer. Like all public schools, all the way up to high school, it's a no-brainer. Just you get what you get. That's it. That stuff doesn't happen until after you're done with high school. Then you could figure out how you want to live your life and do your stuff. But all the way through school shouldn't be a big deal. It shouldn't even be an issue. Shouldn't even be a question. You register for school one way when you're in kindergarten. That's the way you're going to go through all the way till you graduate. That's it. How you decide to live your life after that, that's on you. College, you can figure that stuff out. I figure adults can figure that stuff out too in Congress. And also figure, I don't know why they're making a big deal about this, because I figured that they probably get their own restrooms in their own office over there in Congress. They're pretty fancy over there. With the money that they get, they're probably okay. Anyway, I think it's a bigger conversation. That's why I'm like, do I really want to even dip my toe into this water with only a couple of minutes left? Probably not. But I think it'd be a great conversation for another show. Not like someone else's show. I just mean like another show of ours. All right. Anyway, that's about it. We're getting to the finish line. Tonight we got baseball. It's going to be over at Tonko Field. Falcons and the Brewers. 6:30. The second game of the Masters Baseball League. I'll tell you what, if you thought last night was something in game one, who knows what's going to happen in game two? And if the Brewers are playing and the Falcons are playing, so you got the guys from up north and you got the guys from all over. Mostly, I think Brewers had a lot of guys from the south. But they got guys from up north too, so I don't know. for sure. Anyway, Brewers got some Southside guys. And then tomorrow night, Blue Jays Marlins, all hell's going to break loose. Well, I think that's all we got for you guys. It is 9 o'clock. Let's make sure if we got it. Going to refresh it. Yes, we do have the new update from the Associated Press. So we're going to get that to you now. And we're going to call it a day pretty much for us on that time. So you guys have a great day. We're going to turn you over to the update from the Associated Press. We'll be back again tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock for Good Morning Marianas. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in, for supporting the show. Thanks for liking it. Thanks for sharing it. Thanks for following it. Thanks for all that stuff. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 o'clock, with more for you.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President-elect Trump's nominee for Attorney General Matt Gaetz has been working to secure Republican support on Capitol Hill. Sagar Meghani reports the House Ethics Committee has not found agreement on releasing its report on allegations against Gaetz.
Top Democrat Susan Wild says Republicans on the evenly split panel voted against making the report public.
There was no consensus on this issue.
As the committee met, Gaetz was looking to shore up his embattled nomination. With Vice President-elect J.D. Vance alongside, Gaetz met privately with Republican senators amid questions about sexual misconduct and other allegations. Lindsey Graham says Gaetz deserves a fair shake.
No rubber stamps and no lynch mob.
Some GOP senators say they want to see the House Ethics Panel report before deciding whether to confirm Gaetz, who has denied the allegations. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Trump has chosen his former acting attorney general, Matt Whitaker, to serve as ambassador to NATO, an unusual choice given his lack of foreign policy background. The U.S. will supply Ukraine with anti-personnel landmines to help slow Russia's battlefield advances. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the U.S. mines are safer than Ukraine's homemade versions.
The landmines that we would look to provide them would be landmines that are not persistent. You know, we can control when they would self-activate, self-detonate.
Israeli officials are demanding freedom to strike Hezbollah in Lebanon as part of any emerging ceasefire deal. The demand came amid signs of progress. Hezbollah's leader supports the negotiations but has rejected Israeli freedom of movement in Lebanon. And a major storm sweeping across the Pacific Northwest has caused widespread power outages and downed trees that killed at least 2 people. This is AP News. Seth Suttel has the AP Markets Report.
Stocks drifted to a mixed finish on Wall Street, though the modest moves for indexes masked some thrashing underneath the surface. The S&P 500 ended barely changed Wednesday after trading lower for much of the day. The Nasdaq Composite slipped 0.1%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average edged up 139 points. That's about 0.3%. Target lost a fifth of its value after the retailer gave a dour forecast for the holiday shopping season. The day's headliner came after the close of trading when NVIDIA released its latest earnings report. The AI chip company managed to beat Wall Street's forecasts again. Seth Suttel, New York.
Workers hired for an electric vehicle battery production complex in Kentucky have launched a campaign to join the United Auto Workers. The plans to produce batteries for Ford and Lincoln EVs. Meantime, Ford's cutting its European workforce by 4,000 amid disappointing EV sales. I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
Good morning, Marianas. So many things we gotta discuss. Happy day, Tirawamian greetings to Rhoda, Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. For all your island news from a beautiful place with Pacific views. It's always so much fun on Good Morning, Mariana.